God. God, I hate doing this. Although there's something I'd rather do this than have to watch 50 Shades of Grey again. I'd rather iron for hours. That was such a terrible movie. And I thought, I tried to read the book and, it was unreadable. So I thought I'll go watch the movie because you can't criticise something really until you've seen it. And it was pretty funny. It was a lot funnier in a respect than I thought it was actually going to be. I don't think it was meaning to be funny, but I just think when you've got main characters with names like Anastasia Steele and Christian Grey, it's so Mills and Bone that it's just kind of hysterical. Particularly when in one of the scenes, because she is a virgin, she would have to be a virgin because that's romantic. It wouldn't be romantic to, completely dominate and sexually defile someone unless they were a virgin, because if they're already a bit of a slut, what's the point? So there's kind of that, and that sort of ownership of the person who deflowers a girl, taking it and belonging to her. But at some point in the film, which I went to see with a good friend of mine, Ellen, and we doing our research there, of course, and I think she says something like, "Are you going to make love to me?" And he says, "I don't make love, I fuck hard." Which is like, if someone said that to you, you'd be like, you fucking are a dickhead. Like anyone that said that, I don't know. I wet myself. At that point, I think, yes, I am wet in this film, and it's not with arousal. It's because it was so stupid. It wasn't even, I don't know, it was just really dumb. I was kind of worried that I thought, God, is this? It wasn't even like, if I was really into S&M, like really hardcore, I'd be kind of insulted by a film like that because there was nothing really, there was no butt plugs, there was no kind of anal fisting, no vaginal fisting, there was no kind of, really weird, strange objects. There were a few little floggers and some feathers and some little bit of tying up occasionally, but that was really all there was. It wasn't anything kind of, more than that. It was a little bit kind of like, I don't know, kind of a little bit of soft bondage and discipline. It was kind of like a strange thing that an audience going there, mainly young women, who come from a generation who've actually never been hit. Unlike my generation and generation before, where we were fucking flogged. We weren't fantasising about being hit because we were actually hit for real. So this generation, if you're really going to live out a fantasy, I mean, you could actually, I don't know why they're fantasising about being spanked on the bottom, because he kept saying, if you were mine, I'd put you over my knee. I mean, who even says that? If you were mine, you'd have to go sit in the timeout chair. Have some time to think. Because they really haven't even been, it's a strange thing too, the sort of fantasising, eroticising the romance of being dominated by someone, the kind of dominant submissive, because that's what it's all about, that dominant submissive relate. And she has to sign a contract allowing him to do things like choose her contraception, choose what she wears, what she eats, and of course the whole sex thing's all, going to the sex dungeon, as you do, because everyone's got a sex dungeon. I mean, personally, I don't put that much time into sex, I'm happy if my husband has a shower, let alone goes down and gets ready for the sex dungeon. I mean, I can't even maintain my house, let alone the dungeon. So it was just a little bit full on, it was just a kind of a strange kind of weird kind of idea that this was kind of weirdly erotic. And particularly when you think, and we actually live now in a country where men, women and children are locked up in detention, and then political prisoners are tortured. Sure, the kids are out there. Hey kids, can you be quiet? Otherwise Mummy will have to give you a little bit of time on the time-out chair. Thanks, kids. Or you can talk, but you don't have to not talk at all. Sorry, I forgot. Children, I shouldn't talk like this in front of the children. But I guess, that is weird. And then I was saying that people are political prisoners, and people all over the world live in situations where they are brutalised. And we're sitting in a cinema fantasising about being taken down to a little dungeon and tied up and spanked with a feather, having our liberties deprived of us because somehow that's erotic. And this is just the same old fantasy, isn't it? Because before the film came on, they showed the previews of what's coming up. And suddenly it all made sense, and they remade Cinderella. I went, this is the Cinderella story all over again. It's about the wounded man, and how the beauty that he sees in her, like just not her beauty, he sees her true beauty. And her true beauty is able to heal his terrible wound, you know, and he might get a little bit violent at times and maybe lock her up in the sex dungeon, and maybe occasionally, you know, he might accidentally kill her, you know, but that's part of the romantic story. This is crazy. You know, it just doesn't feel very romantic to me. I think for the sake of men and women everywhere, I think it's time we got a new fairy tale. Oh. Tell you what, no one's tying me up in a sex dungeon. That's for sure. I wouldn't mind, if I had a sex dungeon, I'd have an ironing dungeon. I'd put a man in there and he could just iron for me. I'd find that quite arousing, I'd have to say. So arousing, I'd have a lie down.